It is going to be absolutely enormous. They're literally building out Dubai all the way to Abu Dhabi.
It's not even a question of should I, it's how can I.
Why do you think there's so much UK money coming over and investing in the Dubai property real estate market?
Safety for families, the tax benefits for businesses, fantastic weather, the people you meet. Dubai is the most hottest place in the world, not just temperature, but all eyes are on there.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be here.
They're creating an environment that you never have to leave. It's like the ultimate inconvenience. How much money does someone really need, even at entry level?
We're talking around, let's say, 700,000 dirham.
Do you kind of see the future of the next 5 years looking like for Dubai?
And I feel that Dubai is now maturing nicely.
Welcome. So I'm here with my brother Reis Ash, the director here at Tyron Ash International, and we're coming live obviously from Dubai. And so we're going to break down really some major areas of real estate, UK money coming over to Dubai and all the bits in between. So how you doing, mate? Good?
Yeah, very good, very good. I've had a packed week so far this week, and it's since I've moved over here, it's been quite exciting with getting to grips with just actually understanding and seeing how many UK clients are so keen and hungry to invest, but also they don't know the first thing about it either. So
yeah, I mean, that sort of brings us to probably the first question. Why do you think there's so much UK money coming over and investing in the Dubai property real estate market?
Taking infrastructure and huge capital appreciation aside, if you just look at the UAE and what Dubai has to offer, attracting safety for families, the tax benefits for businesses, that alone, in combination with the fantastic weather, the people you meet, is a huge tick for anyone wanting to relocate, whether it's business, family, or investing. So just taking that into consideration, what a lot of people forget about, is a huge, huge bonus. And then, well, we could go on about it for ages and ages on where and why. But I think these key factors for me are what I really kind of drill home to whoever's inquiring about.
I think also there's an amazing conversion on the dirham to pound. It used to be about 4.5 dirham to 1 English pounds. Now it's roughly 5. So if you think about that over a purchase of, say, £1 million, it's a massive, massive difference, isn't it? You're getting a huge, it's almost taking you into
10%.
You're taking a 10% increase, which is huge. So, you know, for anyone who's kind of looking to pull that UK money into the Dubai market,
Well,
now's the time.
Let's just look at them numbers. If you're talking about a 10% increase from January this year, I've also noticed there's been an average of a 5% drop in house prices in the UK.
Wow. Yeah.
You're suddenly creating margins of 15% there, not to take into fact there's no capital gains on the property profits you make. And when I'm always speaking to someone about where they want to invest and why, most of them have property in the UK.
Yeah.
The first question I asked is, what was the main reason you bought that investment property in the UK? And then when you compare it to what you can get over here, it's not even a question of should I, it's how can I?
Yeah, I think when you look at like the average investment someone's going to make in the UK, a solid investment is going to give you 4 or 5% rental yield. You're looking at probably roughly anywhere between 2 to 5% capital appreciation in the right areas every year. And then that's really, I mean, people are rejecting investment proposals like that here because it's not lucrative enough. So when you talk about some infrastructure where there is actually the new towers going in, there's the casinos going in, there's different parts of Dubai being developed into a much more connected Dubai. I think that, you know, lends itself to people making capital appreciation at like 20, 30, 40% from what they buy stuff at, as well as crazy rental yields, some of them going up as high as 20, 25%.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed is that there's two things, is that when what we do better than anyone else here is the fact that I can facilitate selling their property in the UK for top money with a fantastic proven strategy in the luxury end of the market. And I can deploy them funds over here in Dubai in the right investment opportunities. No one else has the ability to offer this sort of control that the way that I'm kind of doing with my clients at the moment. They'd rather deal with me on everything than a broker here for this, a broker here for that, another broker here to sell my secondary unit. And it becomes that's why we become very good friends with them, because I'm speaking to them about their house in the UK, what they're investing over here, when they're coming here on holiday. And I think that alone, with my experience and our experience in the UK, when they're talking to me about the property market there, if you've just done real estate in Dubai, you don't know fuck all about how it works in the UK and the best way to operate. Whereas we have that experience, and I think a lot of people, when they kind of have that conversation with me, it really resonates them with tons of confidence to go,
Yeah.
if he's going to look after that there and look after this here, that's who I trust to put my money and invest with.
I also think there's a massive correlation with regards to how you're calculating the figures. I think that you'll know that somebody who potentially has to pay heavy tax on the money that they've made on their UK sale, they potentially have only seen marginal increases on that property. Maybe it's that their business is now not doing well, they've had to liquidate it. There's a multitude of factors as to why people are making the move across. And when you understand that and you also assist them with that process, that then becomes, you know, a lot higher level of service and understanding that you offer someone, because you understand where their money's originated from, what they probably had to do to make that money, how much their money's increased and what their expectations are going to be. And then you move them into a market where there is a lot of cowboys in the Dubai market. So when you come off the plane and you land at DXB airport, you're greeted with major developers, major development groups that are like set up on stands that are trying to nab you as soon as you're collecting your luggage. There is stands next to the luggage collections. So for somebody who is on a flight thinking about real estate, that's their proposal. They're going to grab you when you're picking up your luggage. While that's fine, and there will potentially be some good options, the real value comes in having somebody who understands the market, has the inside track on the upcoming developments, isn't going to be selling you stock that's maybe been rotting around, and of course is going to make you the most money on your investments. So what do you kind of see the future of the next 5 years looking like for Dubai, and where do you think the money is going to be going?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel that Dubai is now maturing nicely. I think if we looked at maybe the previous 5 years, it was just a kind of sharp upward curve of prices going up and up and up, money coming in. And now we're seeing, I wouldn't say correction, but a leveling off in certain areas, especially at the super prime end of the market. I can't remember the last time I saw a huge transaction on the secondary market compared to when I was looking, 3-4 years ago. I also feel that will correct itself. And I also feel that there's a huge potential for investors on the more affordable family housing with your 3-4 bed townhouses going towards Dubai Land, Dubai South. So I find that with the shift that Dubai has with moving everyone down from like the Palm down to Al Maktoum Airport, back across to Palm Jebel Ali in a bit of a V shape on the map, is kind of where the future infrastructure is going. And to counter the growth as well, I find that the more established areas, downtown, Palm and seafront, are really going to hold their value and start to increase as the population, looks to double in the next few years.
Yeah, I think it's like with anything, isn't it? Well, I always have a view that it's the original attractions that always hold the value the most. Although what you'll find is that the ultra sort of high end level of a market is always going to kind of fluctuate based on how much money externally from the country is coming in. And there was a huge influx of Russian, Ukrainian money, obviously with the war that went on, and that meant that a lot of that money came to Dubai and created volatility.
Well, look at what happened to England when the Russian money left. Look what happened to the super prime market there. It really took a hit, and we know that it's very dormant now, that super prime London
give
market.
Stuff away, you can't. And I think, like, I remember seeing a clip on the news, and it was a politician, and he was filming in front of one of the Russian oligarchs' yachts that was parked, and basically bragging that they'd seized it. And I thought to myself, that is nothing to be bragging about. Like, you do not want to be, seizing these guys' yachts. Roman Abramovich, gone. Like, all these people, gone. These guys were just funding and owning most of Mayfair, most of Knightsbridge, most of super prime London, most of Surrey. It was nuts. And like, for me, that is been my issue with Britain. Britain is a great country, and we have a huge operation there. We're selling for people, 2-3 houses a day we're selling there. But the frustration comes not from Britain itself. The frustration comes from the government, because they are making it very hard for people to make money. They're making it very hard for people to build property portfolios. They're slamming landlords with the rules on tenants. They're making people effectively have to pay out their noses for tax, as we know, me being one of them at the time. You know, it become like treading water. It become like running in quicksand. And while I will never ever slate the UK, because I think that, you know, we have a huge business there, and our best contacts and investors and sellers in the UK are from the UK, everybody's putting up a big fight against the hurdles that the government create for people who just want to earn an honest living, make money in the property market, build a business to support their family. And instead you've got these, I would call them leeches, just blood sucking,
killing
the money out of these people. And it's very, very inhumane when I watch it.
I mean, on that note, I feel that Dubai hasn't even got started yet. We spoke about it in the past. What are your views on kind of, do you think whilst the UK and other Western countries are kind of going through this blip, how long do you think this will last? And what do you think the impact's going to be on Dubai?
I think, yeah, a lot of people have spoken about Dubai being a bubble, but that is just physically impossible because, first of all, there's too much infrastructure being built. We're talking about a connectivity with all of the train lines, with all of the transport links, all of the attractions. They're basically making it into the perfect 15-minute city. You drive 15, 20 minutes one way, you can go to a beach or stay in a 6-star hotel overlooking the beach. You go 15, 20 minutes the other way, you're going to hit a downtown with a Burj Khalifa and the world's best restaurants. You go 20 minutes the other way and you're at a beautiful community, or you're at a championship golf course. Like the reality is they're creating an environment that you never have to leave. It's like the ultimate inconvenience. So even to the point where it's like, if you have had a long month of working at work and you want to go on a 5-day holiday in a 6-7-star hotel on a beach with the best service in the world, in the best room in the world, you have to drive 20 minutes. It's nuts.
One of the main points I've been making about the UAE is it's going to have everything covered. So we already know Dubai is the most hottest place in the world, not just temperature, but all eyes are on there. Everyone wants to be here, whether it's living or coming on holiday. We now shift across to Abu Dhabi, which is obviously a large chunk of the UAE, which has just announced Disneyland coming there. So we have Abu Dhabi, which is well known for kind of businesses. Now we have this major attraction with Disneyland, the Grand Prix track, a championship golf course. And then we shift right across the other side of the UAE. We have Ras Al Khaimah with the first gaming license. So we look at this three as a collective, where you have the family living or whoever wants to be in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah. It's got everything covered. It's not slowing up at the minute. The UAE has built such a solid foundation in such a short space of time without this huge infrastructure coming in, which is probably the last piece of the jigsaw, which is why I think there's 15, 25 years left in this growth, not just 5.
Yeah, I think it's huge, because if you look at the plans, it's frightening. If anyone ever gets the chance to look at what the plans are from the government, they're literally building out Dubai all the way to Abu Dhabi. So it is going to be absolutely enormous, and they have got plans. It's not going to be that if you're an hour or an hour and a half out, that you've then got to travel an hour back in to go to downtown. They're going to create a downtown that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from you. If you can't get to the beach, don't worry, there's going to be a hotel that's on a man-made island or a man-made lagoon. It's just going to have everything. And that is where you have to sort of bring into the whole factor of quality of life, because quality of life for me is determined by a few things. It's determined by security. So we've often said about and well publicized about how secure Dubai is. I think that from a safety aspect for children, for women, for people who potentially are vulnerable, it is absolutely fantastic. I think that then you've got to think about income. Can you build a business? Can you build wealth? Can you build money in the property market? The answer is yes. And they're going to keep thinking of new and innovative ways for you to do that. It's not just going to be a standard market like you get in New York or you get in London or you get in Paris, where it's like a finite piece of land. It's never going to evolve. It's never going to change. It's always going to evolve. It's always going to change. It's always going to have new waves, new attractions, new things going on. And of course, having an expert like ourselves, you know, with our finger on the pulse to advise you on where to buy there is going to be your golden ticket to actually making money in that. And then I think, you know, for me, the obvious one is the weather. I see the difference in being in blustery cold weather versus even today it's like 45 degrees outside. It's a little bit too hot, but you don't stand outside in it. For me, I make the comparison. People go, oh, it's too hot in the summer, it's too hot. Yeah, it's not perfect,
ideal,
don't get me wrong. But like, it's a bit like when it's pissing it down with wind and rain, you don't go and stand outside in it. It's the same thing. Outside, and sometimes a quick walk in the hot weather is not too bad.
No, exactly,
So yeah, I just feel like it's got a lot of boxes ticked and a lot of boxes covered. But I think for anyone who's thinking it's some sort of a bubble, you are really mistaken. This is not even got going there.
I think a lot of people get clouded judgment because you land in Dubai and there's, I remember you saying all these towers going up and you were like, well, not every one of these can make money. Yeah, it's true. And there's more going up. So depending on what you need or what you require, what you're looking for as an investor will determine what route we go down. And before I even talk about developments and developers, will go back to why they're investing and what they're looking to achieve. And then we can narrow it down to a few options. So there's hundreds and hundreds of new developments going on. Trust me, we'll narrow it down to a few within 10, 15 minutes of talking.
Yeah.
And then every time we do so, do you understand why we've chose this and why we've not gone for this? And a conversation happened yesterday. A lady got introduced to us and she said she was that close to buying this. And I was like, well, why? Oh, the guy was really nice. He was good at his job. He spoke well. He worked hard. But it was just another apartment block in sort of mainland Dubai. And I kind of said, well, why would anyone rent this or buy this off you?
And it was in an area that's its maximum appreciation. Correct, as well. The only way that's going down is down.
Yeah, or staying the same or very gradual stuff. She said, I don't know. And then we went out today and we had a good sit down and went through the option that I provided. And she was like, oh, she literally grabbed me. I can't believe I nearly bought that yesterday. I can't believe it. I was like, this is just, I understand it. I get it. It's so easy for me to understand why I'm going to invest in this and how I'm going to make money. And it's like, it's not bad from whoever was dealing with her before, but they will just try and pitch you anything and tell you what you want to hear to get the sale done.
Yeah, so I think that there's two main motivators. So if you've got somebody who specifically works for a developer, they can be an amazing broker, but they're limited to that developer's options. And if that developer's options are the best at the time for you, brilliant. Like nothing against that. What you've also got though, is you've got the largest density of millionaires and billionaires in the world here. And that also brings the largest density of wannabe real estate agents. And unfortunately for consumers, people who want to buy, people who want to invest, you're going to potentially run into and put trust into somebody who isn't capable of managing your money and isn't capable of telling you where to invest. In fact, all they're looking to do is get a deal done so they can pay their rent. And that is a very, very bad motivator for somebody who's handling your money. We've often said to people who are looking to invest, and we realize how much they've got to spend, what they want to gain out of the investment, when they want to turn it around, or if they want to turn it around, whether it's a rental income, whatever it might be. And sometimes the right investment isn't available there. And our advice is to not buy and wait for 4 weeks because X, Y, and Z is coming up. So when they do get their unit and we're first through the door because we've sold so many with the developer, they're very thankful for it because after 6 months, 12 months, they can already see the capital appreciation. That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, the conversation I'm having today, there's nothing to buy, but we're still there for an hour and a half telling them why they should be buying this area when it comes up. And then it becomes an absolute, slam dunk no-brainer as to not if, but how many we're going to get. And I always like to close off my meeting like that. And then if they agree, then fantastic. And I think that they also, if they're dealing with someone that is telling them no, telling them not to spend money, when they know, everyone knows that you're getting paid for broker deal. And they know that. They're not stupid people. These people are successful, businessmen or women that if they've got 2-3 million dirham to drop, they know a thing or two about money. And I think if you don't know how to handle these conversations, and not only that, to create a case as to why they should buy, why they shouldn't, you're not going to gain any respect from them. And you might get a smash and grab sale, but you won't have long-term business with these people.
There's no longevity, is there? Like for me as an investor, I want to know that the person who is handling my investments or handling my sale or whatever it might be has my best interest at heart, not just for this purchase, but long term. So that in 12 months, there's going to be a strategy. In 2 years, there's a strategy. In 5 years, there's a strategy. Potentially in 10 years, there's a strategy. And that person's going to handle it all. They're going to resell my units when I need them done. They're going to help rent them out when I need them rented out. They're going to show me what's going to be the hottest developments coming up then, how I'm going to make my money, how many I need to buy. All this kind of stuff is crucial when you're utilizing who you're going to use as a broker, because it's very, very easy to jump into the I'm going to buy in Dubai bandwagon. It's very easy to do that. And when we're on that subject, because probably some people will think, I haven't got enough money to buy in Dubai. How much money does someone really need, even at entry level, to make some money in the investment property market here?
Yes, a good question, because I deal with different types of criteria for people when they're looking to invest. So initially it could be that you've received a bit of cash, inheritance, or saved up, but we're talking around, let's say, 700,000 dirham, which is roughly about 145,000 pound, I think.
That's total as well.
Total. So with the off-plan market, is you're never going to pay the full amount in one go. So how we always break it, I always break it down like, before we even talk about prices, consider our down payment of 20%, our 4% DLD fee, which is like your stamp duty costs, and then roughly around 1,000 pound or 5,000 dirham as an admin fee to developer. So roughly 24%. So if we're working on a 150,000 pound property, we're talking about 37,000 pound as an initial down payment. So then it will go down to, what are we liquid for to put down, and what are we comfortable on the monthlies or payment plan structure? So this can be either 1% a month, 5% every 6 months, 10% every 6 months. It won't vary too much from these three structures. So we always kind of work backwards from, what are we liquid for initially, and what are we comfortable paying out on average monthly over the course of 2 to 4 years, depending on what project we go for. That will govern where we're going to invest and the strategy we're going to have as well. So I have some clients that don't want to have a payment plan and they just want to lump it off and maybe get a bit of a discount by paying off the full payment plan. I also have some clients that know exactly what they've got now, what they're comfortable paying each month.
Nice. I think that's perfectly well explained. I couldn't have added anything onto that. So that's kind of the entry level part of it. What advantages would you say the luxury investor has with coming into some of the amazing projects we've been seeing and getting in early on some of these? Because there have been some people who've made an absolute fortune getting in on luxury off-plan investment and then being able to either sell it on later before handover or keeping it later on and selling it after handover.
Yeah, just on that. I mean, I've literally come back from a meeting with a client, a luxury developer, and the sales director pulled me in and kind of said, I want to kind of have a word with you and Ty. I know the business you guys are doing in the off-plan investment market. I want to allocate 10 units of 1 beds and 2 beds for you on this new development coming out, because I know you guys can sell it.
Nice.
You haven't got to worry about fighting over it on launch day, because it's very difficult to get good units with good developers. You've got absolutely no chance if you're going to go direct to developer as a single buyer, because when it comes to you getting a unit, or me, who's done over 25 deals with a developer, I'm getting looked after every day of the week ahead of this guy. And this is what people need to understand, is that there's no benefit. You're actually so much worse off by not working with a broker like myself in this process. Because when you're having conversations like this with the sales director at the developments, it holds a lot of value. So when we're coming in with 3 units from this investor, 2 from him, 1 from him, 4 from him, I'm bolting you all on together as one buyer with me. And that's the value of where it's coming in. And that means that we get the best units. So if you are going to invest, have a chat with me when we're talking about where the best investments are and the strategy we're going to implement, because that alone, it's getting the best units, it's pre-launch and the best developers. No one else can get this out there.
No. And if they do, you're going to get a shitty unit facing the car park or something. You know, you need the best unit. It's the position of the unit, the view, the size, the location. All of these things need to be boxes ticked in order for you to make the most capital appreciation. So absolutely. And I think that one of the big things that sort of comes up quite a bit, and we won't dive too deep into it, but you've spoke about a few times, is Ras Al Khaimah, the casino. Why are you putting investors towards this? And again, what have you seen with regards to some of the influx and how quickly some of them have sold out through what you've just spoken about?
Yeah, well, Al Marjan Island in Ras Al Khaimah, where the most famous casino brand in the world by Wynn is bringing their flagship casino. So them buzzwords alone are going to get anyone excited. Then we talk about it being a 45-minute drive away from downtown Dubai on a small man-made island with finite land, sea views, casino views. So suddenly you can start to see, wow, this is starting to sound very good. We talk about numbers as to, okay, what does this mean for me as an investor? Well, let's look at Vegas. It gets around 40 million visitors per year. Of course, it'd be silly for me to kind of say we're going to get the same here, but let's just take a very small percentage of that. Let's say it's around 7 million visitors per year. Well, the island itself has around 200,000 room cards. So you can soon see how the demand is going to be so high and the supply is going to be so low. When you're investing, you want to have scarcity when you're owning the property, infrastructure, driving people to that area. And to top it off, you want to have sea view or casino view. Come the major sporting events or the major global events, Christmas, whatever it is, New Year's, you got a full Win casino sea view. You're going to be charging 5 times the amount on the short let market. So it's going to appeal to end users and investors alike. So when we're going in detail on this information, again, it's where else is your money better spent in the world? And if you have any other that you'd like to present to me, then fantastic. But I know full well there isn't. And I feel that Ras Al Khaimah is probably the most exciting investment opportunity now. We're hovering at around 2,700 to 8,000 dirham per square foot for the off-plan prices. We see places on the Palm that are surpassing 10,000 dirham a square foot. Do I think you'll get there overnight? Probably not, but does it have the potential to reach that and surpass it in time? I fully believe so. And I think if you're talking about potentially 2-3xing your investment over 4 or 5 years, you should be jumping on that straight away.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I bought there myself. Multiple people in the business have bought there as well. And I just feel like it is a solid place to put your money. When you look at, I did figures on something as low as $150 a night on the one that I did. And we're talking about a £3,000 to £4,000 profit after costs.
Net profit,
on short letting at a 60 to 70% yield. So when you talk about that, you start thinking, that's pretty healthy. Now that's before Ushuaia bring in their famous DJs every month or whatever they're going to be doing. That's before the nightclubs and the bars get announced. The Mega Mall, Marjan World opens. They have events going on. You've got New Year's. You've got all these different things going to be popping up. You've got huge influx from the Chinese markets as well. I think there was something like a 20x increase in the amount of businesses that have been opened in Ras Al Khaimah since the announcement of the casino. You're talking about thousands of businesses. This is not going to be some little ball of hot air. This is going to be a massive next level expansion of the UAE. It's going to be a worldwide attraction. You've got sporting events that are going to go there, nightclubs, the casino. You've got the beach clubs.
Remember that the media frenzy hasn't started yet.
Has it?
About 60-70% of the people out there don't know that this is definitely going ahead. And when it does, and you don't own property on here, you're going to be prepared to pay a hefty premium to join the party there. And I think the UAE isn't silly with their approach. It's been done for a reason. It's close enough to Dubai for everyone to access it, but it's not close enough to disrupt whatever Dubai's vision is with their growth. And I think that's the key part here, is that Dubai's growth, I feel, is targeted more at bringing more and more families here to just live. I feel that Abu Dhabi is very business orientated with family attractions there as well. And I feel that Ras Al Khaimah is going to be the icing on the cake to just bring that sense of casino, bit more lively, partying type island, which is going to be, it's going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to have that appeal. Again, it's another part of the infrastructure which becomes very exciting. I think what we've seen as well is, the people who are handling hedge funds, investment funds, serious investors, property developers, right through to people who are just dipping their toe in the water, deals are getting done. And just to sort of wrap it up, I think it's super important. And one thing I want to kind of finish on that Reis has touched on is it's very important for anyone who's even just trying to get some information. Forget about buying, just information about what investing in Dubai or Ras Al Khaimah or the UAE, Abu Dhabi looks like for you, cost-wise, how you're going to make your money, where your profit's going to come from, where your rent's going to come from, how you're going to make money full stop. You should speak to us, because I feel like we're buying ourselves in the market. We know where to put your money. We're putting our own money into it. What better certificate of authenticity do you need than a company that's doing that? So look, thanks for joining me. And yes, reach out to Reis if you're interested in investing in Dubai. and or just want to know about the Dubai market, really, it's good to reach out, have conversations. Thanks for joining us.